Week 4 DFS recap. We're going to run through it all. DFS on DraftKings, Battle Royale, Dawg Bowl on Underdog, a crazy pick 'em hit for one of the members of the Deposit Kingdom. We'll take a look at that. And then we'll turn our eyes to Best Ball, Eliminator, see how things are progressing over there. We'll do a little Monday Night Football preview and maybe a Week 5 first look. I'm Pete Overzet. This is the Portfolio Review. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 6v6, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust down AP, cut 5 bullets to your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
GMs. I was wondering if we were going to get an update on this. Glad we were going to get it right off the rip. If you guys didn't tune in last week, Trevor mentioned that he was going to be getting married this weekend and was asking for advice on how to squeeze in all of his drafts. I said, Trevor, I'm begging you, touch some grass, enjoy your wedding. And here's the update. GM, wedding went well, everyone. I didn't take the week fully off, but I got 8th in the Engage 8, so we take that. I mean, getting 8th in the Engage 8 after getting engaged and getting married, it's also fitting. Congratulations, Trevor. You had a much more productive weekend than me. You got married and had a top 10 in a tournament, neither of which I can say I accomplished. So congratulations, Trevor. Let us know what's on tap for the honeymoon here. What's up, Jordan? GMs. What's up, Matt, Trevor, Ashton, Garage, Deuce, Expendables, Big Dan, Captain, J Mike. GM Pete, win from the weekend. What made you smile? No wins in DFS. There was nothing to smile about for me at DFS. But we did do an overnight trip to Newport, Rhode Island on Saturday into Sunday. And it was an awesome day. It was like 75 degrees. I thought we were going to get like, New England fall in Newport, but it felt like summer. We rented bikes, did the Cliff Walk, the Castle Hill loop there, got some really good food. Lauren and I went out for a nice dinner after April went down. It was a nice time there. But I was a little out of sorts on Sunday morning, not being at my battle station. It's always like very hard to wrestle with that dynamic. I actually heard Adam Levitan talking about it on his solo pod this week, because this was going to be one of the first Sundays that he wasn't at home in an NFL season for a long time, because he had a buddy's bachelor party. And so, same thing with me. It's like, I don't want to be tethered to my desk, for 20 straight weeks, every single weekend. Want to be able to still do things. So trying to balance that. But yes, Sunday was way more of a scramble for me than normal. But to quote Adam Levitan, no excuses, play like a champion. And I did not play like a champion yesterday. Some more GMs. What's going on here? GM. Joey says, GM, 80 Mitchell cost me a couple bucks. Yeah, that one was unreal. We were watching that live on the Shipcast yesterday. Just one of the sickest catches you'll ever see, followed by one of the most boneheaded moves you'll ever see. Pretty fitting that 2 of those near touchdown blunders that we've had in the NFL have both come from the Colts. I believe it was week 14 last year when Jonathan Taylor had that run against the Broncos and forgot to cross the plane before flipping the ball or whatever. And then A.D. Mitchell does the same thing. How does that continue to happen? I truly, truly do not know. I got to pour coffee right away. I'm a little parched here. I think I got room for maybe 1.5 pours. So let's get a good coffee pour going here this morning. Appreciate all you guys tuning in as we mourn the loss of Malik Nabers. We mourn the disappearances of players like A.J. Brown and Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. We're going to go through it. We're going to work through it. We can do this together, folks. All right. Yes, this was one of the lone bright spots on the day. I shouldn't say lone bright spots. There were some fun rookie breakouts yesterday. Obviously, Omarion Hampton, but Josh says it was awesome to see Jeanty on all of the winning lineups. Yeah, that was, I haven't been doing my gold star locks as much on the cram on Sunday mornings, which if you guys aren't YouTube members for the Hand Builder and Opto Bros tier, we do a show every Sunday, 10:30 a.m., walk through the entire slate, get final thoughts, react to inactive news, draft some teams, build some lineups. And Jeanty was the gold star lock play yesterday at running back. He did find his way into my main DraftKings lineup, but that lineup ended up being ass. And I should pull that up here and we can take a look at this as we start to review some lineups and work through what happened yesterday. Let me get this all situated and then I can read for you this lineup. So I had mentioned on the cram, I was pretty torn about where to go at quarterback this week. I thought there were so many good plays. I didn't want to play the Caleb Williams, Geno Smith stuff. I thought Jeanty was kind of the way to get access to that game. I knew I kind of wanted to either get up to one of the high-end quarterbacks. The ones on my short list were Mahomes and Lamar. I really liked that game. Hurts or Daniel Jones. Those were kind of my pool of quarterbacks I narrowed it to. Ended up running a decent amount of sims, trying to look at the lineups I liked the most. Ended up settling on this Jalen Hurts double stack. And it's kind of a theme for me this year because it was, 2 weeks ago when I had the Jared Goff double stack and Goff went nuts. But I didn't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was the main piece of that stack. Same thing this week. I have the Jalen Hurts double stack, but I do not have Dallas Goedert, who was clearly the piece you needed on the Eagles. Let me read off the full lineup for you guys, and then we can laugh at me for how bad this team ended up being. Jalen Hurts, 3.7%. A.J. Brown, 7.9%. Devontae Smith, 2.9%. Didn't do a bring back here. Nailed the running backs. Jeanty, 15.2% owned. CMC, 32.7% owned. And then I ended up having two Falcons on here. I wasn't going to play Penix on DraftKings, but I did really like this spot for the Falcons. And almost same deal here. I played Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts, kind of like a cheap way to get access to the game. And of course, it's the big Bijan and Drake London. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to being directionally accurate. You know, Kyle Pitts has a good game, 18 points for sure at 6% there. But Darnell Mooney doesn't play, I believe, the entire second half after leaving with a hamstring injury. And then in the flex, I have Devontae Adams, which when I was eyeballing this lineup in the Sims made a lot of sense to me. Like if you're going to fade Puka, which is probably the most scary and terrifying thing to do in fantasy sports right now, you want to ask yourself, how does it go wrong? How does Puka not smash? The answer is he always smashes. But if he were not to smash, maybe it's because Devontae Adams scores a couple of touchdowns. He scores 15.6 points. This lineup ends up paying down at defense to the Titans defense for 2 points. It scores a truly minuscule 128.7 points, nowhere close to the cash line. I did only play one main lineup yesterday. I put this in a handful of the single entry contests. But yeah, this is just a GG's move on and forget it kind of week for me. You know, the one stack that I think could have gotten there that I was considering would have been the Mahomes stuff. I think I would have been on Mahomes, Worthy, and Hollywood was the stuff that was simming well. That would have been nice to get to. But alas, I decided to go with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, who you guys see the quote from A.J. Brown. He continues to work through it with his cryptic posts here. This was the one from yesterday after the game. If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. He is certainly going through the various stages of grief here. It seems like he's close to acceptance with his role in this offense. So yeah, it's like both a bummer. You know, he's not playing as well as we would like. And then they're also just not making him a focal point of the game plan. They're not trying to get him shots down the field. He seems pretty underutilized in the offense right now. And I decided to build my lineup around him. So shout out to me. Shout out to A.J. Brown. Let's see what took down the big spy for the $100,000 top prize that I continue to chase as my white whale in the DraftKings streets. Matthew Stafford at 2.4% drops the 30 ball. You have the premium double stack to Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I fucking love this lineup already. The Matthew Stafford double stack And then the double bring back Tyler Warren and AD Mitchell. Stafford at 2.4%, Adams 7%, Puka 48%. Wow, Puka almost 50% owned in the SPY. Tyler Warren at 15.3%, AD Mitchell at 10.6%. That's a really nice block. You eat the chalk on Omarion, Hampton, and James Cook. You also play a one-off Drake London and then Lions defense. Just a really strong, sharp lineup there. You obviously don't play CMC, and you get those 2 running backs. One thing that was another sharp call from the Cram, when we were looking at projected ownership for James Cook, I think it was coming in at about 20%, and multiple people in the chat said their favorite play was James Cook. And my eyebrows kind of raised when that happened, because typically our crew, when we do the poll for favorite running back on the slate, we aren't selecting one of the chalkier running backs. And so I was like, whoa, if we have 5-6 people going out of their way to say James Cook, despite being one of the more popular plays on the slate already, we were going to slam the higher on that ownership. And that's exactly what happened. He comes in here almost 20% more, double, 50% more than his projected ownership there. So pretty crazy stuff on James Cook. Obviously a strong play. He scores 25.5 points, but definitely a win for the Cram in those polls, being on some of that steam. But yeah, very strong lineup here with Matthew Stafford, 5,900 getting that double stack. So congratulations to user Jay Walken for taking that down. Yeah, and that's what's crazy. I mean, to win, so Jay Walken is probably watching this game and sees AD Mitchell cost him another 6 points here. And when you're at the top of the leaderboard, they score 217.9 points. They only win by 1.4 points. You are probably tilting your goddamn face off when AD Mitchell makes that boneheaded move at the end zone and you still hold on to win. That has to be a very good feeling there. Joey says if he just goes the other way in that 3v3, he wins all the money. There you go. There you go. So that was it on DraftKings here. I mean, I think there were a couple different ways to win this week, but you are seeing the Matthew Stafford double stacks here at the top. Let's see, all 3. Wow, a Geno team finished in 4th. Geno Smith, Jeanty, James Cook, Jacoby Myers, Puka, Drake London, Tommy Tremble, Omarion Hampton in Lions defense. Speaking of Tommy Tremble, did you guys see the team that won the Millie? Let me see if I can pull this up right here. I had this link saved. Check out this winning Millie Maker team here. Just an absolute fever dream of a Millie Maker lineup. Naked Patrick Mahomes, of course, has Jeanty, gets Woody Marks at 0.9% ownership. Woody Marks goes for 27.9 points at 4.4K. Roma Dunze, one-off. Puka, of course. Drake London, yes. Jake Tongas at tight end at 3,100, 0.5% owned. Bucky Irving in the flex. That's where you get the chef's kiss. Bucky Irving in the flex. Jeanty, of course, playing late. Bucky Irving playing early. And then Lions defense. Just the ultimate phone shitter bro lineup. Say hey here. Sitting on the can, mashing buttons, and then waking up to $1 million in their account today. Just absolute wild stuff. Wild stuff. I feel like it kind of vacillates back and forth between that, where it's like some weeks on DraftKings, it's like, man, that's like a pretty logical lineup. Yeah, you had some really contrarian low-owned plays. And then there's some where it's like you're either a time traveler from the future or just the luckiest person to ever walk the goddamn earth, maybe somewhere in between. Maybe a little of column A and a lot of column B. Yes, these are the kind of comments that these lineups should elicit. Copy Paste Date says, what the hell kind of lineup is that? I'm never winning anything. There is a reason I haven't been playing the Millie Maker. Although on After Dark on Friday, I want to look at this team. I did build a team with Justin Freeman. I think I played my first Millie Maker lineup of the year. Let's see how Justin and I's team did. Not good. We had the Jared Goff double stack. So Amon-Ra did well. We had Jeanty and Omarion Hampton, nailed that. But Ladd McConkey, that did not work out. 1 reception for 11 yards. We did Kate Otten at tight end, Jacoby Meyer in the flex, Commanders. We hand built this lineup using the Justin Freeman leverage chart. But yeah, that was my my sole bullet in the Millie Maker. The funny thing is like I made a joke about this on the Shipcast yesterday, where I can't even make fun of the late game guy in the or the early game guy in the flex, because I have not been using late swap myself. So if you're not going to late swap, it doesn't matter. But it is fun for us to all point and laugh. And they are meanwhile Scrooge McDucking into their $1 million, and we are here licking our wounds on a Monday morning. That's just how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah, your Millie Maker is snowing in late September. Yeah, look at that. Jeanty, Hampton, Amon-Ra, and then just 5 straight snowflakes. Let's move over to Underdog at this point. Before we do the Battle Royale stuff, I got to pull up this Pick 'em win from Chris Mazzone. I haven't been able to get this out of my head. It's my Roman Empire right now, what he did yesterday. I'm trying not to be too hyperbolic, but I think it's like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in fantasy or Underdog related DFS pick'ems. This is insane. So we have the Dawg Bowl Qualifier, right? There's both the draft version, and this year they introduced the Pick'em version. We've been talking about it on Off and on the Clock. You use your token. You just put $5 minimum on it. You build a Pick'em, in the top multiplier that also hits all of its legs wins a spot in the next round to try to advance to the live final in Kansas City for the Dawg Bowl Qualifier. And each week, the bar has been raised for what multiplier you need to win. Week 1, you needed like a 15x. I think then it was like a 30x, then a 40x. The one I built for this week was like a 66x. So Chris Mazzone here, he tags me like literally 15 minutes into the slate. He tags me and he says, laugh my ass off at my ridiculous Dawg Bowl Qualifier actually popping off early. Sorry to anyone who has Drake London. We know how this ends. In this screenshot, these are the touchdowns. Kendre Miller, bang, scored before the first quarter had even ended. Quinshon Judkins, bang, scored before the first quarter had even ended. Here's the coup d'etat right here. Tommy Tremble, boom, scored before the first quarter had even hit 9 minutes and 26 seconds. And then, so he's saying like, all right, I'm going to mush this. I just hit 3 insane touchdowns halfway through the first quarter. Drake London, clearly this isn't going to hit. Drake London scores like 2 minutes later. 2 minutes later, he hits this for 129.61x. It was just game over. It was just game over. Vince Carter, it's over. 1 quarter into the slate. Like a 129x is just so impossible to hit with even 20 games, with even as many games as you want, much less to do it in the first quarter. So just an absolute hat tip, a bow, everything to Chris Mazzone for this. Congratulations. And yeah, Chris in the chat says, I thought we had to get them all on the first drive to qualify. So I just did that. I mean, the Kendre Miller, Tommy Tremble is just some of the sickest shit I've ever seen. Incredible. Incredible. How do you get the tokens for the qualifier? So admittedly, it's been a little bit wonky in that the first few weeks you had to fill out the form. This week, I automatically received my token. So I don't know if once you fill out the form now, they're going to make sure that you receive the token. But I've been retweeting when the form goes live. Keep an eye out for that. But basically, you'll go into your Underdog app and you'll click the promos. And when you click the promos, you will see it available within that. So you build the pick'em and then you go and hit apply token within your promos. So if I get more detail on the exact mechanics of how that's working this week, I'll let you know. But yeah, it'll be in your promos in here. And like tonight, we got a Bo Nix gimme. I got 0 pass plus rush yards. And I got a 75% boost. So yeah, always check your promos before you fire off a pick'em. All right, let's head over to Underdog. I guess while we're doing the pick'em stuff, you want to know how my week went? I'll show you how my week went. So the Off and on the Clock core, which is the main pick'em we build every Friday afternoon, Each of us make a selection. So there's 3. We are now 3 for 4 on these pick'ems on the year, these core pick'ems, which a pretty insane hit rate for a 3-leg pick'em there at 75%. But this is how bad I ran yesterday. So what I generally do is when I'm on stream, the promos are not available on desktop. So I just did a $5 on our core. And then what I do is I go to my phone, I redo it, and I add the 75% boost, like you can see John had here. Well, I was doing the show and I forgot after doing the $5 one on desktop to go do it on my phone and do my typical $100 with the bonus. So this is what happened. I turned $5 into, what was it here? $5 into $26.29 for the core. The previous weeks that we had won, I had $100 on it. So that is, that's how my day went. That is a very nice representation of how my week 4 went. One of my one big wins for the day, the often on the clock core, and I accidentally had $5 on it instead of 100. So that's what kind of week it is. But again, no excuses, be better. Let's go to the drafts here. Let's check in at the Battle Royale leaderboard here. Jay Dennis, 22. Love to see this. 152.6 points. Patrick Mahomes, Omarion Hampton, Ashton Jeanty, Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Tyler Warren. So we get another naked quarterback. Last week, it was naked Jalen Hurts. This week, it is naked Patrick Mahomes. No bring back from this game either. You get the 2 rookie running backs, Omarion Hampton and Ashton Jeanty. You get the 2 high-end wide receivers there, Puka Nacua and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Tyler Warren. So the one kind of piece of correlation in this lineup is the little mini correlation with Puka Nacua and Tyler Warren. The other interesting thing here is to make this lineup work, you get, let's see, Amon-Ra at pick 11, Puka at pick 2, and then let's see, Hampton at pick 14. So all of those pretty closely tied to ADP. Tyler Warren as well. I guess Tyler Warren's the one who slid. ADP of 18. Jay Dennis gets him at 23. And then the big kind of leverage piece in this lineup was Ashton Jeanty. You can see here the draft percentages. Actually, 2 leverage pieces. Mahomes was only drafted at a 37% clip, and Ashton Jeanty at a 48% clip. So just a super strong lineup here. I think really sharp on a couple of fronts. Obviously pulling the levers of a couple scroll down options, Mahomes and Jeanty. Then you're getting the naked quarterback. That meta is alive and well. And then taking advantage of some of the values at the top of the board, specifically Tyler Warren sliding and being one of the best tight end plays on the slate. And then you absolutely love to see it. I saw this in the Discord last night. Jay Dennis says, got the masterclass 5 days ago. I think it works, with a screenshot of his $50,000 win. So incredible stuff there, Jay Dennis. The ultimate testimonial. We're now back-to-back weeks where the winner of the Battle Royale, last week it was Alec, the fantasy grinder. This week, Jay Dennis took the masterclass. Both read some of the biggest takeaways in there. The 2024 data we looked at was about the quarterback position, the stacking mechanics, and being more willing to run naked quarterbacks than the field. We have a bunch of data analysis in there, and to see these guys put it into action and win like this is absolutely incredible. So shout out to Jay Dennis. If you guys want to follow in their footsteps, it's underdogmasterclass.com. You can get 10% off with promo code BADGE, and highly recommend it. 10 plus hours of roundtable discussions. You can put it right into your podcast feed and get all of the 2024 data analysis that these guys have been using to build really strong lineups. So congrats again, and check that out at underdogmasterclass.com. Also pretty fun up here, some familiar names in the top 10. Crutches and Tunya here, both from the Deposit Kingdom, have a duper here for third place, 150.6. They had the same lineup, but instead of Omarion Hampton, they had Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving scores 23 points and Hampton scores 25. So just a little 2-point difference there. But shout out to 2 Deposit Kingdom legends here. Intunia, I mean, unbelievable. Last week wins a milli on FanDuel. This week, T3 in the big battle royale. Just awesome finish there. Galen, he's one of the guys behind the solver over at ETR. He finishes here in 5th place for 8,500 with a Bucky, Jeanty. And then the only difference is he had the Josh Allen version here instead of Patrick Mahomes. Another really strong lineup. And another Deposit Kingdom guy down here, Hot Sizzos, had the Drake Maye version of this lineup. But as you can see, the core you really needed was 2 of 3 running backs, Omarion, Hampton, Jeanty, Bucky. You had to have the Puka and Amon-Ra. You didn't have to have Tyler Warren if you scrolled to Dallas Goedert, but there weren't going to be people scrolling to him at a high enough clip to have him, populate in these top lineups. And then the quarterbacks, it was just, you could have gotten there with a bunch of different quarterbacks. Drake Maye, Stafford obviously would have worked. Josh Allen worked. Mahomes worked. A couple different ways to build, but you had to have that core. See Car Park up here as usual. He had the Hurts to Goddard version of this lineup as well, but Hurts just at 19.4 points compared to those other ones. Good morning, Angelina. We got my guy Schmo in the chat. That last Puka TD and Mahomes TD really changed the slate a ton at the top. Yeah, and that was kind of what we all expected, right? Where there were 4 really good games in the late window, and you're looking at some of the scores in the 1 p.m. and you're like, yeah, Bijan has a nice score, but he can be matched by Jonathan Taylor, CMC, or Puka. None of the quarterbacks had fully separated. The tight end stuff was still a little wonky, and Warren and Bauer still had to go. And it was not a slate where you wanted to be sitting in first place heading into the 4 p.m. games. It was a slate where you were going to get charged down, and that's exactly what happened. And yeah, shout out to Puka Nacua, man. Just an absolute animal right now. Really nothing like it. We did see the steam on him. When you opened up the ADP early in the week, he was at like 1.5, 1.6 in ADP. That quickly changed, and he kind of settled at 1.2. But you were even seeing drafters, myself included, kind of flip him and CMC at the 101, just trying to balance out the exposures there. But yeah, hard to deny him the 101 right now. Even on Underdog, where touchdowns and running backs are king, he just separates that much from the rest of the wide receiver position. Also, while I pull up Schmo's comment, if you guys want to put a face to a name, you have to go watch last week's episode of Battle Royale Bash. And if you guys aren't familiar, I'm doing the show I did in season, the Best Ball Bash. We're keeping that rolling on Thursday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern. We spin the wheel. All you have to do is be a YouTube member. Any level, doesn't matter. You use the hashtag. If your name comes up, I send you the link. You hop on stream with me. I pay for an entry. We see how it goes. Schmo dials in on Thursday, and he's in an office building. He's got his phone like sitting on the desk, so it's like staring right up. We're just getting like a shot of his chin, and we see his beady little eyeballs just darting around this office building. Like he's very nervous. And I was like, are you worried that your boss is going to walk in or whatever? And he says he's in, building and grounds maintenance, and he just was trespassing in a random building to go do this draft. He saw he won a spot on the stream, abandoned whatever he was doing outside, ran up 4 flights of stairs to a random office building, sat down at what I assumed was some random cubicle, and then drafted a team with me. It was absolutely incredible. There's a clip up on the channel if you want to see it, or you can go and watch the entire interview from Thursday, but an early highlight to the Battle Royale Bash guests this year. Look at this. Another, I did see Galen bought the masterclass last week, and then yes, finishes up here GSD4. I should also say I was messing around. I did a couple drafts with the solver tool this week, and it was suggesting a ton of Bucky Irving there with the tool. So it made sense, Galen, that you had Bucky on your lineup. Very nice lineup there in 5th place, and appreciate the kind words about the masterclass. If you guys want a tool to help you out with kind of managing some of your combos. Go check out the solver. Glenn and his team did a great job with it. Let's do this. Question's interesting. Joey says, Pete, I know this is probably in the masterclass, but doesn't it make more sense to blindly ignore ADP for these and to just draft the best plays or what you think are the best plays for many reasons? So, I think you're like half right. You know, the way I describe it, and stuff like this is in the masterclass, but we talk about this on Off and On the Clock. On a given slate, there's generally anywhere from 8 to 12 players who are in a tier 1. And generally that obviously includes the best running backs, the best wide receivers, and some of the onesie guys. So this week it would have included Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. For me, it regrettably included Brock Bowers. And then there's like a tier gap there. And you can see it in the projections and in the ranks, but the projections actually help show you the exact tier gaps. And from there, the way I view it is I want as many of those tier 1 players on my lineup as possible. And that's exactly what these people at the top of the draft board had, right? They had Puka Nacua, they had Amon-Ra St. Brown. They were squeezing in those studs to their lineup, and Omarion and Hampton there as well. After generally pick 15 to 20. Again, it's moving goalposts depending on what the slate is and who's available. But after that, the projections just aren't that different. And this is where you're right, where you can ignore ADP. And one of the biggest traps I think you can fall into drafting BRs, and I fall into this myself, is getting overconfident in the fringe plays, typically with an ADP of 15 to 25, getting mega overweight on those guys instead of scrolling down to a guy like Ashton Jeanty, right? It'd be an example. I'm trying to think of a good one this week, maybe getting way too much Kyron Williams and never having getting to Ashton Jeanty enough. So it's really important to look at the projections, look at rankings, and see where those tiers are, and making sure you're not over leveraged on a fragile tier. But I think you're on the right track. Get as many studs as you can. And then, yeah, go get your guys. Don't be beholden to ADP. Not only are those projections more fragile, but you're also going to run into a lot more ownership. You're going to run into a lot more combinatorial ownership too, where people are just tethered to the same pairings of players over and over if you are so strictly adhering to ADP. So I think it's a really good note. And yeah, there's both an art and a science to this stuff. And I think that is ultimately what makes it so much fun. Draft board here. This is my first year playing daily season long, best ball, but yeah, playing daily. First 3 weeks came out positive, and this week was a huge gut punch. Has me questioning everything now. I mean, it's hard to know what exactly you're referencing as far as it's like your best ball portfolio or not. But if we're just talking daily, if you had 3 good weeks in just 1 down week, you are sitting pretty, my friend. You are absolutely sitting pretty. I think I'm at 1 good week. I had that good week 2 with the Jared Goff stuff, and otherwise 3 losing weeks. And trust me, you are not alone in having a down week feel like a kick in the dick. It does not matter to me, you know, the context of the slate or whatever. It does not matter what's going on in my life. If I have a bad slate, it sucks. You feel that pit in your stomach. I say, like, do I really want to go do the portfolio review tomorrow and talk about all my shitty lineups? Do I want to go look at my DeBombs that all fucking miss the cash line by a mile? Do I want to go look at my fullback dives that all miss the cash line by a mile? No. But if you're playing well and you have 3 winning weeks out of 4, that's really good. And you do have to learn to build up the calluses with your mentals to be able to withstand those losing weeks, shake it off, trust that your process is good. And maybe that's where the ambiguity is, not knowing if your process is actually good or not. And that's where I definitely recommend things like the masterclass, because there's ways to actually review your lineups, review your contest selection, your bankroll management, and make sure you're playing optimally. But yeah, I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but you got to shake it off. These drafts are getting very competitive. There are a lot of strong players, and we're all going to be at the mercy of variance on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. FK Cooler says the down week was the median outcome. Welcome to the daily games. Like, so this was I've been maxing the BR every week. I returned $530, and this is about what I expect on a given week. Like that's like to get about half my entry fees back in a top heavy contest with tens and tens of thousands of entries. That's the expectation. And I just want to stay afloat, stay alive in the game enough to be able to try to get a top 10 like some of these lineups we reviewed, because that can pay for your entire season of entries there. So that's how it goes when you're playing tournaments. Steven says, last year, my first 7 to 8 weeks were bad. Then I found often on the clock and won a profit every week after that. This year, my dumbness has hurt me. No, Steven, you're being too hard on yourself. Again, like it is very possible to play well and draft well and lose, right? You think, I got a question. I think it was, I don't know which show it was on. It might've been the Fantasy Life draft party stream. And I think it was Star Tours asked the question. And he said, he's like, is it possible for like a 0 RB-ish team to win this week? It just felt like you had to have one of those round one running backs. And I said, well, yeah, I think the optimal build this week is probably starting with 2 straight running backs. But I said, what if Josh Allen or Puka Nacua is in the optimal lineup? It ended up being Puka, but all of a sudden you had to have Puka in round one to compete. So immediately right there, did you notice how we went through those top lineups? Bijan Robinson had an awesome day yesterday, but the 2v2s of early running back with late wide receiver versus Puka and late running back like Jeanty, it got blown out of the water. So just right there alone, you remove every lineup that didn't have Puka Nacua on it, right? So let's just say you drafted 150 teams and you were going to take Puka at ADP every time, and you were getting him 1 of 6 times. So right there, if you were getting Puka there, you're now down to 25 lineups. You have 25 Puka lineups. All right. Well, now you need Jeanty on that team to win. Jeanty was only drafted 50% of the time. Let's say in your portfolio, you were overweight with 5 shares. Well, what's the expectation that your Puka lineups have Jeanty? Well, guess what? Now you're down to probably, what are we down to? I don't know, maybe 0.1 of those lineups with Puka had Jeanty on it. I need to do 0.01 there. Well, now what are we down to here? We're down to maybe 1 lineup that has Puka and Jeanty on it, right? Like I'm doing some very loose back of the napkin math, but I'm just showing you how narrow the path is to perfection in these BR streets. You could have played incredible. You could have been on every leverage piece. You could have had a GTO portfolio for the week. And if you don't have the combos of the highest scoring players on the slate, it doesn't matter. And that doesn't mean you played bad. It just didn't mean that you got to that combo you needed. So again, that's why bankroll management, contest selection is so important, because you want to stay in the game, you want to improve, and then give yourself the chance to land on that perfect combo on a given week. All right. I feel like that was enough catharsis for us there. Like I said, I do not want to look at DeBomb. We can take a look at some of these and see if the texture of these lineups was any different. As usual, you can see that the barrier to winning DeBomb in these smaller field contests is much lower. 139 points takes it down here compared to the 150 in the main. Top fantasy plays has a Josh Allen, Bucky, Jeanty, Puka, Drake London, Travis Kelce. Again, you can win DeBomb with a 7.3 from Travis Kelce, which is why we should also be mixing in some of these smaller contests, because that bar for perfection is much lower. Fullback dive, Bo Knows here had a Hurts, Hampton, Jeanty, Puka, Amon-Ra, Goddard. Again, seeing that Hurts Goddard, a correlation that could have got you home there, mainly because of Goddard scoring 17 points here at 12% drafted ownership. Let's take a look at a Dawg Bowl in a second here, and I'll grab a few other questions here. When does the BR drop? I'm fired up to find this winning lineup now. I believe last week, did it drop like late Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning? I know they delayed it a little bit. I want to say it was late Monday. But yeah, sometimes it was early Monday. I know they were messing around with the fill rates a little bit. But yeah, bankroll management is the best way to play long-term for sure. Kiss my third leg. How much is the masterclass? I'm getting my ass kicked right now. It's $120, but you can get the 10% off with promo code BADGE. And I'm obviously biased, but I think the testimonials speak for themselves. I think it's incredibly worth it. I really think if you are feeling lost, it will get your game on the right track. Let's see here. Let's look at the Dawg Bowl. Actually, we'll do Deposit Kingdom. Let's do the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League. Captain James takes it down 143.62. Again, has that core that we just keep seeing over and over again. Hampton, Jeanty, Puka, Amon-Ra. But this one has the Drake, Maye to Hunter Henry stack. And lo and behold, his ears must have been burning because there he appears. Captain James shipped the Deposit Kingdom and got Masterclass before week 1. All right. There you have it. There you have it. Captain James, love this team. The Drake Maye at 20%. Hunter Henry, we knew was going to have a higher draft percentage. This ended up being not a bad draft percentage. You know, I thought it was going to be closer to 80% based on his ADP and being the tight end 4. But I think because the tight end slate was so flat after Bowers and Warren, that this ownership actually got spread out a good bit. So then to get the combinatorial ownership between Drake Maye at 20% and Henry at 62 is actually really solid here. And then scrolls down for Jeanty. Just a super nice lineup here, 143.62. And that would have played very well in the Battle Royale. I always apologize when I do this. But let's see, 143.62 would have been good for, 29th place or so there for 1K. But you win the exact same amount in the Deposit Kingdom, 1K there for first because of it only being a contest with 1,104 entrants. JT McKenzie, a familiar username around Underdog, I think an NBA Dawg Bowl qualifier as well, finishes in second place. Matthew Stafford, Kyron, and Puka. Again, these are the kind of correlations that I wouldn't do in the big BR. Just knowing like Stafford and Kyron stuff is pretty inversely correlated. You know, Stafford probably isn't throwing a pass to Kyron. And so when Kyron scores, Stafford isn't, etc. But in these smaller fields, you can get away with it. And the reason is the block got you on got you on Stafford. And getting on Stafford gave you 27 points, which was a pretty dominant score for a last round quarterback selection on this slate. Has the familiar faces, Puka, Amon-Ra, Tyler Warren there. But really strong lineup and a full-blown game stack here. Stafford, Kyron, Puka, and Tyler Warren. Really like that one a lot. Turbotron here had Daniel Jones. Look at this. Can get third place even with a 12.38 from Daniel Jones, but has the stack to Tyler Warren, the bring back with Puka. I don't think we pulled up a single top lineup that doesn't have Puka and Amon-Ra on it. And then this one has Bucky and Jeanty. So shout out to Turbotron there. Oh yeah, my guy Joshua McAtee was hanging out in the ship chasing live chat here. He's Bonos 34 that got the fullback dive win. I knew you won the fullback dive, but I forgot that your username was different. Congratulations, Josh. Hashtag masterclass testimonials. Love to see it. Although now I'm starting to get like, we just created a bunch of monsters. And now all of you guys are winning the tournaments. And I can't even get in the top 50. No, I'm happy for you guys. I definitely love seeing all of the testimonials here and all of you guys crushing. Nathan says, how many hours is the masterclass? I would love to get it, but finding the time to do it. The masterclass can be as long as you want it to be. There's basically every single chapter is in text form, but then we record that in audio and video. And then all of the roundtables are in video and podcast form. So if you want to listen to us talk at 2x speed, 1.5x speed, you could probably blow through it in, 5 or 6 hours would be my guess. It all depends on what you want to consume. You can cherry pick. Everything's very clearly laid out, sections, topics, whatever. You can just go to the data. You can just listen to the roundtables. You can go to the late swap section. You can cherry pick and bounce around and find the stuff that's going to resonate the most with you right now. But we created it in mind for you guys to be able to consume it however you'd like. Let's go check out the Dawg Bowl here. I got 5 entries into the Dawg Bowl this week. None of them cashed. 3 winners up here, including League of Items. if you guys watched the Guillotine League draft I did on the channel, League of Items was my co-manager on that one. Also had a really back-breaking loss week 1. Let me see if I can actually pull this up because I want to get the full arc of League of Items here. Week 1 Dawg Bowl Qualifier. Was it week 1 League of Items? Are you in the chat? Or was it week 2? Oh no, I'm looking at, here we go. I think it was this one. Here he was. Yeah, League of Items, week 1, 107.92 points, just bubbles off of the top 3, which punch tickets to the Dawg Bowl, 110.32 points. So just a few points off there. So close. Then comes back this week and gets the ticket here, 125.5. And I love the poetic symmetry of having a KC double stack punch your ticket to the Dawg Bowl, which is in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, has Bijan and Drake London here, and then Ashton, Jeanty in this lineup. Incredible stuff from League of Items here. Congratulations. In 3S here as well, an Underdog OG high volume player had a Herbert team to Quentin Johnston, Dallas Goedert, Deebo Samuel, Jeanty, Bijan. You can see here the ownership percentages are obviously going to be different than in the 6-mans. Obviously double the amount of players getting drafted, but still getting Dallas Goedert at nearly 50% ownership. Pretty sharp play there. And then Tubin here in first place also has a Patrick Mahomes stack. This one to Worthy. Brenton Strange at tight end, Jeanty, Puka, and Igbuka. Really nice lineup there. So congratulations to all of our Dawg Bowl qualifiers, Tubins, In3S, League of Items, and of course, Chris Mazzone on the Dawg Bowl front as well. I'm going to pour one more coffee pour here, and then we'll check out some best ball portfolio stuff. Goods there in 8th place says needed a Cole Kmet tutty to qualify. And man, he was so close. Cole Kmet was a good play. On the cram, we ended up doing a Jeanty Cole Kmet pick 'em. I believe Cole Kmet had 9 targets. Yes, he had 9 targets yesterday. Cole Kmet is specifically in the Dawg Bowls, just an uber smash for his role, that game environment, and the fact that nobody was on him with Colston Loveland out. Really unfortunate stuff, Goods. The Jeanty Cole Kmet mini was so sharp. I mentioned that on the cram, that those were my 2 favorite pieces from that game. And I was kind of confused that the Cole Kmet projection wasn't a little bit better. I didn't get to him in the 6-mans on Underdog, but I actually think that was a mistake in retrospect, just looking at how obvious his role was with Loveland out and just getting access to one of the best game environments of the week. So you were close, man. He had he was tackled at the 1 or pretty close there. Really strong team. Dab K, look at everybody in the chat here. Close. Dab K got 7th. Patrick Mahomes to Worthy and Kelce. Bijan, Jeanty, Devontae Adams. Very, very close there. Just needed a little bit more from Kelce, it looks like, to get home. All right. I think that's good on the Underdog front. Like I said, not a good week for me in the side contest. You can see just all zeros here there, which is not ideal. Like even getting some of the min caches, last week, I get a couple min caches into bomb there, and even recuperating some of that, a 23rd place is still a 5X on an entry. 46th place is still a 3X. Those really help keep your bankroll afloat. Getting some of those min caches in the side contest. I did not do that this week. So we will lick our wounds. We're going to get back in the lab. We'll be more focused this week, and we'll have a better week 5. Let's see here. Let's head over to our friends over at bbmdb.com. All right, so the top score overall in BBM right now has 635 points. Let's see what my top score is. 552.88. I have no teams in the top 5,000. My advance rate right now, I'm advancing 26 out of 150, 17.3%. So just barely over expectation here. We can see what a top team looks like here. I have a Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Mason, Jerome Ford, Miles Sanders, Jarquez Hunter, Pickens, who balled out last night, Waddle, Judy, Shakir, Christian Kirk, Joshua Palmer, Diami Brown. Did I look at this team last week? I feel like I don't like these wide receivers, but this team's getting it done because of Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. Also has Mark Andrews, Jake Ferguson, and Harold Fannin there. We can look at the I always like seeing which of my teams are actually doing well because I have them named here, and we can see which of my my co-managers, which teams are looking good. One thing I'm noticing, a lot of my Bash teams are qualifying. So shout out to you guys, the YouTube members who hopped on. The collective team we all drafted, which was the finale of the Bash, that team is advancing right now. Let's see the other Bash teams that are advancing. The one with Chris is advancing. Shout out Chris, who also made a return to Battle Royale Bash on Thursday. That team is doing well. I saw multiple Bash teams in here when I scrolled through earlier. The Bash with Mathology. You want to talk about just an absolute GOAT. How about Mathology here? Let's check this guy. I think he was a draft or advancing an absurd amount of BBM teams last I looked. Yeah, 40 of 150. 40 of 150, 26% advance rate, and has a top team, a top 50 team, 4 teams in the top 600. Just an absolute baller. Mathology defending his crown as the best regular season player on Underdog. We're in talks to get Mathology on After Dark here as well, trying to find a time with his schedule there. Frankie says, how much Fannin did I end up with? I swear you have him in every league we are in together. Let's see. I mean, yeah, so many of my co-managers also loved Fannin. I have him on 15 teams. 15 teams, advancing 15 of them. What other teams are advancing? There was another, let me scroll down. Yep, there's my my draft with Pat Moore, obligatory mention there, that Bash team. And the Bash team with Neil Farley. This was the kickoff to the Bash. So like when you think, I think what the total amount of Bash teams I did, I started that late May. I think it was after Memorial Day, right? So it ended up being, can't be more than 12 to 13 or 14 Bash teams. And like 4 of them are advancing, 5 of them are advancing. That's an insane percentage for on-stream drafts. So the collaborations with you guys are doing very, very well this year. Let's check out some Eliminator here. My, as it goes, my pool is starting to dwindle. I was down to 22 teams this week, currently advancing 12 of those, which is, slightly above expectation, 54.5%. The quants and the robots over at bbmdb.app/elim say I'm expected to advance 12.1 here, 54.8% of these. And look at this. This feels good, right? Jay Dennis, 22, who took down the BR for 50K. We laid the smackdown on him this week. Absolute smackdown. So Jay Dennis, go ahead, swim in your 50K underdog bucks. We just sent you packing in the Eliminator, 131 to 79 here. Let's see, my highest scoring team, I had a 166. I'm guessing that is by far going to be my highest scoring team. Let's see this team here. What does a 166 look like? Drake May, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. Thank you for your service those first 3 weeks, Russell. Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Isaiah Pacheco, and Jalen Wright. That's it? Just those? Are those my only 4 running backs? What was I doing? No, I'm looking at his team. I was like, what the fuck? I can't imagine I would have drafted those. All right, let's go to the other side. Let's look at the actual good lineup. Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, and Tyler Shuck. Omarion, Hampton, Tony Pollard, Cam Scatabo, Bayshell Tootin, Dylan Sampson, DJ Giddens. This is an intriguing team because it's like a 0 RB-ish rookie heavy eliminator team that's getting hot at the right time. Puka, Amon-Ra, Xavier Worthy, Devontae Smith, rest in peace, Jane Reed, Emeka Egbuka, and then Goddard, Strange, and Jawan Johnson. So nice high floor there at tight end. But yeah, the Puka, Amon-Ra combo, and then Hampton coming on. Pretty nice there. Pour one out for CD Harrington. My one advancing eliminator team has Malik Nabers. I feel like I haven't given the proper eulogy to Malik Nabers to this point. Obviously didn't appear on any winning lineups. It's just absolutely brutal. I know, like a lot of us, Malik Nabers was a big part of our draft plans. I think pound for pound, the best young wide receiver in the league. I truly feel like where we were headed, he was going to be drafted 101, 102, 103 alongside Chase Jefferson and obviously Puka. I think he was firmly headed in that direction. And I wrote about it in the Fantasy Life newsletter today. But I think that it's brutal no matter how you slice it. But the timing of it being right when Jackson Dart was put in place as the starter and injecting life into that offense. And you saw it on that first drive. And it's like, okay, here we go. Like Jackson Dart and Malik Nabers is going to be a thing. And then to have that stripped away from us before they could even play one fucking full game because the turf at MetLife Stadium is an abomination. It's just really, really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. And I'm as fantasy pilled as anyone, but just from a real life perspective, this guy who just can't seem to stay healthy for one reason or another, certainly not his fault. But yeah, it bums me out. That part of football and fantasy football where you pick these guys who are legit superstars, guys who tilt the field in their direction because of how good they are. And now we don't get to watch Malik Nabers for the rest of the year. It makes me sad. It makes me really sad. All right. Let's see here. Anything else to look at in the eliminator stuff? What's my worst team? Should we laugh at my worst team? 71 points here. Do I have any sweats tonight? I mean, here's one. This one's really close. I'm projected 104.97 to 104.56. Who do I have going tonight? I have Jamar Chase. Okay. And they have Mason Taylor. So I need Jamar Chase to clear 7.2 points and make up a little bit from there. I need him what? I'm struggling to do my math now. I need him to score like 15 points. Yeah, that is fringe. Versus the Broncos, not feeling super bullish with that and Jake Browning, but we will see. So there you go. I just manufactured a sweat for myself tonight. Jamar Chase over 15 points. Yeah, Index of Suspicion says makes you sick when you see the grass teams like Real Madrid get to play on. NFL owners care little about the quality of the product now more than ever. And it's just like, it's such easy fixes. It's like all of this stuff with the NFL, which is this just multi-billion-dollar behemoth. And it's like, we go through this with all kinds of stuff of like, how can you not pay the refs to be full-time refs that, Ed Hockley has to go back and be a lawyer during the week? Why aren't we giving these guys health insurance for the rest of their careers? All of this like low-hanging fruit to make everything in the product better. Why don't we have standardized fields and quality control measures to make sure players know what they're getting when they step on the field? It's really frustrating because it just seems like that's the stuff we shouldn't have to worry about. All right. Those are the best ball sweat. Should we check in on some guillotine action here? Let's check in on some guillotine. We will start with the Deposit Kingdom League. I have finally started to work the waivers a little bit. I didn't have any big acquisitions. This team still has Breece Hall going tonight. I was a little worried about this team coming into today or coming into this week because I had to start Travis Hunter. Debo's always volatile. I had Loveland and picked up Cole Kmet and just being like, I'll just hold on to those two. And when Loveland or one of them's out, I'll play the other. Trevion's kind of a scary, volatile start in Eliminator, Guillotine, and Keon Coleman too. So like I don't love this lineup, but it is holding on here. Debo scoring 20.1 points was pretty huge for me there. It looks like our guy Nick is on the cut line here, and I believe he is done because he has no projected points remaining, 60.9. So we got to pour one out for producer Nick here. You know what? As an Eagles fan, he went out doing what he loved, drafting AJ Brown. Also took the 0 from Jalen Warren there. This is just a total Yinzer move right here. Just peak Pittsburgh fandom, loving Jalen Warren so much that you forgot to take him out of the lineup. I will say that late breaking scratch for a 9:30 a.m. Eastern game, international game, that's pretty brutal for season-long managers there. But it doesn't look like he had a ton that would have saved him. I guess putting in Kendre Miller or Miles Sanders, but even then, I don't think Nick gets home there. So, rest in peace, Nick. Mathology continues to run well, eking by in second to last place here. Let's see here. Let's look at the ship chasing league. This one we drafted live in Miami, or I should say Fort Lauderdale, this summer with our ship chasing meetup. This team I have in this one is probably my best Guillotine league. It finishes third here. Our guy Paul looks like he is going to get the chop unless I'm looking at the scoring wrong. I guess it'll be close. He's projected for 80.5 and Dricko has 88.49. So let's see what Paul has going tonight. He has Troy Franklin. So he's going to need something from Troy Franklin tonight. Otherwise, going to get the axe. J-Mo, Fannin, Rashad Bateman, Benson there. Benson looked like he was going to be an awesome ad. I mean, still going to be a strong play, but it looks like Benson might be heading to the waivers. I'll show you my team here. I think this is my best team across my my Guillotine portfolio. I have Caleb at quarterback. I have Bijan and James Cook, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf. My tight end situation needs some work, Pat Frymouth, but then I have Olave and Javonte Williams. So like the value I got on James Cook, getting Garrett Wilson and DK Metcalf who continue to kind of dominate targets. Chris Olave's target share is awesome. Javonte exceeding expectation. I just need to figure out the tight end position because Freiermuth is not it. Evan Ingram was what I thought was going to be my solution. He's been hurt. I've been picking up guys on the waiver, just hoping something would materialize. Likely Gesicki. Let me go see the roster here. I got to see who did Paul have at tight end, and what's on the waiver wires. Cole Kmet, Tommy Tremble, Mason Taylor there. Does Paul have a tight end that I can bid on this week? Harold Fannin. I'm going to have to pick up Harold Fannin from Paul's team. Yeah, this is the, I saw JJ, late round quarterback, was talking about how the tables had turned. All of us East Coast dads always complaining about the late night games. And then it was the West Coasters who were complaining about the early start there. What would it have been, a 6:30 a.m. kickoff for you guys? Consigliere says, I woke up in California to Warren scratch in a lot of my lineups. Yeah, that's not fun. We, in our FFPC high stakes portfolio, we ended up spot starting Kenneth Gainwell in a few spots, and that ended up being huge. This is our 5K draft we did with Leone. This is Leone, Gretsch, Corain, and myself. We were playing Chad Schroeder, Cocktails and Dreams, one of the best high stakes players over there. And we were debating between Jordan Addison or Kenny Gainwell. We ended up going with Kenny Gainwell in this 5K league. We have 180 points. This team's really starting to come on. If you guys remember, this was the draft we did where everyone was so terrified about our running back 2 slot. But when you have CMC and Puka Nacua on the same team, you're going to be in good shape We get Kenny Gainwell spot start, Scattabos coming on. We have Ted Arroyo, we have Laporta, we have Worthy, who we got back in this lineup. And now we just need to sweat. Can we hold off? What would it be? About 70 combined points from Bo Nix, Achane, Sutton, and Lutz. Could be a little sweatier than you want. The projected points say we should win by about 8. But yeah, nice to get that 31 ball from Kenneth Gainwell on the spot start there. I think that was about it for the Guillotine League. Should we take a peek at Monday Night Football here? We have a 2-game spread tonight. I assume we got a primetime Palooza. Yeah, Monday Night Football Palooza here. Let's hop in and see what we're looking at. So we have Miami at home versus the Jets. Justin Fields is going to play. And then we have the Bengals at Denver. What are the totals in these games? I had not been paying much attention to this Monday Night Football slate whatsoever. Whatever you do, don't look at the tight end page. Yeah. Let's see here. Not money line. Let me see the over under. 44.5 point total for Jets, Dolphins, and 44 point total for Bengals, Broncos. Pretty rough there, but I will do what Ricky told me not to do. Holy shit. Evan Ingram. Is Evan Ingram good to go? Yeah, I guess he's been practicing in full. Why didn't I play Evan Ingram in those leagues? I just completely, in the Guillotine leagues, I had him in 2 spots, and I didn't even consider playing him. Jesus, Peter. Step up your season-long game. Darren Waller is going to make his return tonight. Mason Taylor, Mike Gesicki. Yeah, this is punt, tight end until the last round. Quarterback, Fields and Bo Nix in a tier of their own, then Tua in a mini tier, and then Jake Browning as the last guy. J.K. Dobbins here, home versus Cincy. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, this is a gross slate. When J.K. Dobbins is coming off the board at 1-3, you know it's gross. Chase goes. Let's go Sutton. I also don't mind the Miami stuff because I probably won't get Bo Nix, but I can probably get Tua. Let's do Tyreek. We'll go J.K. Dobbins and then Tyreek. I don't mind the spot for the Dolphins at home versus the Jets. Do I have any more coffee left? Thank you to the 340 of you guys watching live this morning. Yeah, let's do Waddle and set up. Let's see. I mean, I guess this drafter here could take Tua from us if they were feeling particularly spicy and didn't want Browning. Yep, they did it. See, this is me being a primetime Palooza noob there. Beautiful stuff, which means I'm going to be stuck with Jake Browning. Am I going to run out naked Jake Browning? No, we'll do T. Higgins because we know we're going to end up with him. So we're going to do Jake Browning and what, Gesicki? Is that the way this lineup tells a story? Surtain shuts down Jamar Chase. J.K. Dobbins gets the lead for the Broncos. Browning to Higgins and Gesicki hit, and Browning barely outscores Tua, but Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have good games. That's quite the story. All right. We'll do Gesicki first. And then this drafter already has that. Let's do one more of these. I want another crack at this now that I have a lay of the land. Yeah, I agree, Steven. Steven says my story seems thin. I agree. I was trying to tell myself any kind of cope-based story that I could. It's like that Curious George story that's missing pages. April has this new book that she loves. One of our friends got this souvenir book from a Boston hotel. It's called Larry's Lost in Boston. It's like this dog and this boy get separated while they're touring around Boston. And April's obsessed with it right now. She's like, I want to read Larry Lost in Boston. I think I've read Larry Lost in Boston about 25 times in the past week. And that book might coincidentally end up lost in Boston at this pace. Cooler says, with slates this ugly, it feels like deviating from ADP a little more could be okay, but I don't do it with mini sol slates. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I think definitely, because I'm not going to do a ton of volume. I'll probably end up doing like 5 of these. So I'll probably bounce around and just grab what I want, but always a little dicey, really deviating from ADP over and over again with a bigger portfolio. Mo Williams pigeon books are popular in our house right now. I'm not familiar with those. I will look that up. The one thing that I'm excited about that April's getting into is there's these really beginner board games. I think by the company's called Haba, H-A-B-A. I'm going to take Breece Hall on this one. The first game we played is like My First Orchard, and it's cool because it's a very simple game, but teaches them rules. You roll a die, you take turns, you progress on the board. So I just bought her another one of those from Haba because she's been loving playing those games. It's hilarious though, because the game, it's like My First Orchard. You're trying to get all of the fruit in the basket before a raven gets to the basket. So you're rooting against the raven, but April thinks it's hilarious whenever the raven shows up on the die. And I'm like, so when I roll, I go, no raven, no raven, no raven, no raven. And April, a raven will come up and she'll be like, yes, raven. I was like, April, whose team are you on? We're trying to take down the raven and protect our crop. Anyways, I'm back on the clock. Let's play a Jets smash here. We'll do Fields and Breece Hall. Larry gets lost all over the place. My daughter loves Chicago. Larry. Yes, Larry gets home. A college kid finds Larry. Spoiler alert for Larry Lost in Boston. A college kid finds Larry at the Museum of Science in Boston, calls Peter, which is the boy's dad, and they meet up to reunite Larry and Peter. Let's see here. We have Fields and Breece Hall. Let's go ahead and grab Chase Brown. You know, I get why he's going at 110, but the volume is still really good there. I think just chasing volume is still probably the play here. Justin Fields, Breece Hall, Chase Brown. I guess wide receiver gets gross quickly. Is Reynolds back this week? Yeah, return to a full practice. Malik Washington's kind of a fun little scroll here. I guess Taylor with Fields if we kind of just want to onslaught Jets. All right, Franklin goes. So we're down to wide receivers and tight ends. Let's just grab Taylor. We'll play Jets onslaught, and this will not be comfortable because we will have to grab 2 punt wide receivers. 2 punt wide receivers here. This is where if I had more time, I would quickly go pull up the the utilization report for some of these Jets wide receivers. Let's see here. Reynolds has only played 1 game. Tyler Johnson actually playing a little bit better, but that was probably just because Reynolds was out. Man, this is gross. Remember, you know whose name we haven't heard? I thought Nick Westbrook-Akine was supposed to be a thing for the Dolphins. Wasn't he going to come in and catch some long bombs? He has a pretty devastating utilization profile right now. I mean, I guess that entire offense is just so concentrated that there's just not room for him. But yeah, he got fully beat out by Malik Washington. Who the hell am I supposed to take? Maybe it's Pat Bryant. I mean, Sean Payton does weirder things, right? Let's at least bet on a little bit of talent down here. We'll do Pat Bryant. All right, I drafted a team. I can't say I had fun doing it, but I certainly drafted it. Tough Monday Night Palooza slate. I trust my buddies over at the Badge Bros will cover this slate in more detail tonight. How about this? We'll do one more because I'll do the single entry. Let me do my Monday Night Football Bash. I need to wipe the bad taste out of my mouth that was drafting Josh Reynolds and Pat Bryant. Anyone else have a single entry they want to burn with me here? And then we can do a little first look for week 5 and hop in a playbook. Looks like Underdog has a Monday Night Football cover 4 as well. While this is loading, we'll cover the full Splash Sports stuff on the Swolecast. I did survive. I'm a fish for sure in these Survivor leagues. I mostly played Buffalo, which probably wasn't optimal, but some of these contests are pretty small. So I was just in survive and advance mode. I probably should have done something different in the big one. But the Swolecast Survivor League, TD Survivor, we're down to only 70 entries out of 269. I did advance this week with James Cook. So we are on to week 5. This league is going to start to get pretty fun. I wonder what the over-under is on which week this contest ends. I would be pretty surprised if it goes past like week 9 or 10, just with how hard it's going to get to continue to nail a weekly running back score as the pool dwindles. Index of suspicion. Can we get some likes on the stream? Yeah, in my StreamYard window, I can't see how many likes are up, but it sounds like it's not that many. So if you are watching, if you can please like the stream here, I would appreciate it. This time we have the 1-4 and the 1-5. We can get a Garrett Wilson. Let's do Wilson Fields this time, which I believe is going to be the chalk pairing just based on the ADPs. But this is the smaller contest here, 2,200 entrants. And I trust we can get weird somehow else. As far as my schedule this week, it's kind of the usual stuff. We'll have Swolecast tomorrow at noon. I'll do the LG show for Fantasy Life in the afternoon. Stat chasing, Drico and Sacrilegious do an awesome job with that. That'll be tomorrow night. I'm off Wednesdays, Thursday, 3 streams, the Fantasy Life DFS Draft Party stream, the Lulz show with Brian, and then the Battle Royale Bash. Got to see if anyone can top Schmo this week. Friday, we got the 3 DFS shows, Block Party with JM, Bully the Sims with Uticow and the Run the Sims crew, and then Off and On the Clock with the Badge Bros. Saturday, DFS After Dark. I'll try to book a guest again for this week. Had a good time catching up with Justin Freeman. And then the portfolio, or not the portfolio review, the cram in the Shipcast on Sunday. Let's see here. There is a pretty big tier break at running back, probably from Chase Brown down. Let's do Chase Brown, and I want some Troy Franklin in my life. Haven't got to draft Troy Franklin yet today. We'll do Chase Brown and Troy Franklin. Brandon says, I didn't read the P.O. Box. What's the book club currently? Yeah, good question. Because I was on the fence. I put in 2 holds at my library. By the way, guys, this is the P.O. Box is the free newsletter I do each week. It's just my personal newsletter. I write about something that's on my mind, whatever's on my mind. And then I do a roundup of all the content from the week here. So easy way to get caught up to speed, completely free. I drop it in your inbox on Saturday mornings. I put all the like pick 'em entries, links to all my shows, written stuff, preview what's to come. But yes, to answer your question, Brandon, I'm debating between these 2 books, whatever one I get the hold for first. One is called The Splendid in the Vile. It's another Eric Larson book. All of his nonfiction, historical nonfiction stuff I've loved. So I'm just going to go back to the well on that. And then the other one is Harold, which is a book from Boston Comics, Stephen Wright. And I've heard some good things about it. So I thought I would check that out, but I will keep you guys posted. If I don't get a hold from the library, I'll just buy one of them for my Kindle and I'll let you guys know on Friday. All right, we are back again. Let's do, we didn't get a Malik Washington last time. Let's do Malik Washington. So we'll go a 3 wide receiver build and then tight end. Let's see. Should we go Gesicki? We lost out on Taylor. Yeah, we can do Gesicki. This is probably a pretty chalky build, but whatever. Justin Fields, Chase Brown, Garrett Wilson, Troy Franklin, Malik Washington, and Mike Gesicki. Appreciate that, MBF. Always good to support the P.O. Box in your local library. Agreed. Chunk the Deuce. I could use a good book. Any favorites over the last few months, years that are must reads? Maybe a chat question. I actually did in the P.O. Box. Let's see if I can find it easily with the search function here. I did a top 10 books highlight post here. Let me see. Yeah, so here's my top 4 from last year. I'll drop this link in the chat if you'd like. Paradise Sky by Joe Lansdale. Recursion by Blake Crouch if you're looking for a really fun, breezy sci-fi read. The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. That is an awesome book about the, 1912 World's Fair, and also a serial killer. That 2 kind of stories taking place simultaneously in Chicago during that period that intersect in a pretty crazy way. And then Chain Gang All-Stars, another kind of futuristic, kind of sci-fi-ish story by Nani Kwame. And that book is awesome as well. So those would be my top 4 from the book club from last year. All right, guys, let's do, I promised a little first look for week 5. So let's go ahead and do a playbook draft and see what the lobbies are looking like here for week 5. All right, so doing our quick survey of the ADP landscape, no Puka Nacua on this slate, no Christian McCaffrey on this slate, no, I was going to say Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is at an ADP of 23, and it's not even wrong. It's not even wrong how far we have fallen. So at the top, for quarterback wise, you have Lamar. We get the Jaden Daniels Q tag again. Fields, Hurts, Goff, Herbert. Wide receiver slate is kind of weak. Wow. This is a weak wide receiver slate. So you got Amon-Ra and then JSN. And then you're all the way down to Garrett Wilson as the wide receiver 3, Chase wide receiver 4, Nico wide receiver 5. I think Nico should move up ahead of Wilson and Chase. Baltimore is just giving up a ton of points. Both on the ground and through the air. So yeah, I think Collins should definitely be higher as I eyeball some of this stuff. Derrick Henry's way too low as well. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. I think you can run on Houston. I will take Jonathan Taylor 101 though. I think that is probably correct. Gibbs at Cincinnati certainly could make a case, but JT at home in the dome there seems pretty good. Lamar injury concerns. Yeah, that could be a bit here. I think it'll be interesting to see where he slides. I definitely think paying a 7 for him, ADP of 7 is a little bit rich, but yeah. Oh yeah. I completely forgot. Yeah. First bye week of the season. What is it? Who's on bye this week? Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers. Honestly, won't miss a ton of those players. I mean, yeah, the Falcons come on, but it's really just Bijan. Bears, it's basically just Rome and Caleb. Packers, Jacobs. I'm just thinking through a BR lens. Steelers, Metcalf. So I don't know. Could be worse. What's the schedule? Why are the Rams? When do the Rams play? The Rams play on Thursday. Okay. Rams 49ers on Thursday. So the CMC Puka Bowl here. We are back on the clock. I said the Derrick Henry's probably a bit of an overreaction here. Let's do, going from Henry to Scatabo. I like Scatabo, but that still feels kind of crazy. Bit worried Pearsall sits for Thursday Night Football. I could see that. What's the update on Jawan Jennings too? I mean, I feel like I memory wiped what happened after his ribs got absolutely cracked on that 2-point conversion. Let's grab Trey McBride here. So we'll go Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Trey McBride. All right, I'm going to set up a redirect for Mr. Davis Maddock. If you guys want to continue the morning with nonstop recapping of week 4, Davis will have you covered over on his channel. Let me set this up for him. Yeah, it's I can tell right now this is going to be a really good scroll slate for wide receiver. Just because it's so weak up top and going to be probably pretty flat down in this range. Oh yeah. How did I forgot to build a pick 'em. Thank you. See, I knew I was forgetting something. Let's crowdsource a good pick 'em here. As I finish up this draft, give me some ideas in the chat. I feel like was it last Monday? I think we were pretty close. I thought we were pretty close last Monday. Jennings said he's definitely playing this week. All right. That's good to know. Waddle receptions. Darren Waller, 1 first quarter reception, 1.59. He'll have something in the scripted plays. I like that angle from Josh. Look at you guys. All right, I am back on the clock. Should we do Tyreek Hill at Carolina, or is that a trap? We could do, let's do Justin. Yeah, let's do Justin Fields versus Dallas. I mean, that is Justin Fields at home versus that Dallas defense. Do we want to just scroll a little bit here at wide receiver? Pickens is already gone. Let's do some fun scrolls here. Let's play. We'll do JMO. We're just going to get wild here. We're going to scroll all the way down to JMO. I mean, JMO had 8 targets yesterday. They give the Make-A-Wish touchdown to Amon-Ra. All right, we got Jamar unders, Harvey breakout. Jeez. Garrett Wilson over receiving yards or Mason Taylor over fantasy points. Dobbins over 1.5 TDs. I knew Yosh would like the JMO scroll there. All right, who should be my last wide receiver? This is going to be a naked quarterback. I don't know if you guys saw, but naked quarterback is all the rage right now. How squeaky can the Ladd McConkey wheel get? How squeaky? At home versus Washington here. They got to get him going at some point, right? Of course, AJ Brown gets Denver this week too. Let's do Ladd. I mean, Ladd's still a good player. I don't think anything's changed there. QJ obviously balling out, but even if you assume like the roles are reversed, the way that offense is humming right now from a passing perspective, like Ladd is going to pop up for one of those big games. Let's buy Ladd at a dip here. ADP 34.9. So here's the first look team: Justin Fields, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Jamison Williams, Ladd McConkey, Trey McBride. 2 high-end running backs, tight end 1, rushing quarterback versus arguably the worst secondary in football, and then 2 scrolls at wide receiver, JMO and Ladd. Not too bad. All right, let's build a pick 'em. I think I actually have a boost here, so let's make this a good one. And this time I am not going to forget to put it in. You know what? I actually have a gimme pick. I think one of my gimme picks got rescued yesterday, so I can change a pick to 0. I also have the Bo Nix, so we got a lot to play with here. Let's do a core. Let's do a core here to get us started. Let me scroll back to some of these suggestions. All right, you know what? Mathology, we shouted you out earlier, and I saw a few people like the Mason Taylor stuff. Taylor receptions, lower ADOT, high catchable target, 74% of the routes here, 2.5 receptions. All right, this is the start of the core here? What was the other one I liked? There's the day. I like this. I honestly love this angle from Josh. This Darren Waller. Let's see. So you can play him 2 receptions at 1.06. What did Josh like first quarter? First quarter reception is 1.5. The question is the spread on 1.59 to 106 worth having it? What if you just played first half receptions at even money? But I don't know. Your angle's the scripted thing, which is the part I like. So you know what? I'm tailing you on this. All right. I am going to do, so I have the gimme with Bo Nix. So I'm going to do this one here, guys, because I'm so scarred from forgetting to put this on my phone for the off and on the clock core. I mean, just unbelievably bad. But do you guys all have the Bo Nix? Do you guys have the Bo Nix freebie? I'm going to share this in the chat once I get these other ones in. So this is going to be the Bo Nix freebie plus the Mason Taylor higher than 2.5 receptions and Darren Waller getting this will be a good squat. Do you know what I love about this one too? I will actually be awake for this Darren Waller first quarter sweat. 7:15 p.m. Eastern start. I love this, Josh. I'm really coming around on this idea. All right, there it is. So this with the gimme, let's see. Where's my gimme? I'll try to put this in the chat here so you guys have it with the gimme. They got to get these on desktop for me. All right, so this is a 9.73x with the gimme. We're going to max that $50 here. And I will get this link in the chat so you guys can use your gimme on it as well. All right, let me do this. Sorry, this is such a rigmarole. And then let's build another kind of fun one here. And I'll get this in the chat for you guys. Oh, lo and behold. Did I just get, I thought I got a notification from my library. I thought my book was ready. But it was something else. All right, here's this link. Everybody should have a Bo Nix gimme, I believe. So there it is in the chat. Let me see here. What other ones did we get? Wow, Josh, you're a better pick 'em player than me if you can only do 10 nicks on the Bo Nix play. Brees receiving TD looks very nice at 4x. That's fun. Let's let's do a couple other ones. So the Brees, people liked the where's the receiving TD here? Yeah, 3.87. That's cool. Ooh, this is a fun one. Are you over in the Rivals tabs? I do not know. I have not visited the Rivals tab in a long time. In fact, where is the Rivals tab? Where did the Rivals tab go? Oh, what? I feel like it used to be up here. Will someone tell me? This is so embarrassing. Will someone tell me where the goddamn Rivals tab is? Champions tips, pregame and in-game. Where are you finding this, Steven? All right. I feel completely stupid, but I do not know where the Rivals tab is for this. All right. If somebody can figure that out, let me know. Let me go back. The Jamar unders, though, I think seems strong. What do we think? What has he been like? So Minnesota, he had 6 targets, 5 receptions, 6.4 points. I think the receptions and targets you kind of want to stay away from. It's probably just receiving yards, even that, or do you just play him lower fantasy points? Because it's just like, it's probably the way to play it. Imwald like the Garrett Wilson over receiving yards. Oh yeah, it might be. It was even last year when it flipped to champions in mass. I still had Rivals. We used to do them for the Shipcast, but yeah, maybe it more recently got the axe. All right, this is a fun one for 23 points. Or 23x. Breece Hall receiving touchdown, Jamar Chase lower, and Garrett Wilson higher. I'm gonna use a bonus for this one too, but let me get this shared for you guys first. Oops. All right. Let me get this one with my bonus, and then we'll do one more. Someone had a Troy Franklin. Sign me up. I'm never saying no to Troy Franklin. Ooh, this one's fun from Herd. I love a little Malik Washington angle there. That's good. Evan Ingram will go off tonight, according to Troy. All right, so I had a gimme pick, so I can send Garrett Wilson down, Breece Hall, TD, Chase lower. There we go. All righty. Let's see here. Let's get the Franklin. Do we want to slide Franklin? MT Mr. Revolt likes the Franklin. Yeah, so just had that down game, but still had 4 targets last week. You just play Franklin fantasy points and just hope there's a couple different ways he can get there. Malik Washington. Where's this? 4.5. Washington over 4.5 rush yards. We're seeing it at 6.5. How do we feel about that, Herd fan? Is that 2 extra yards? I mean, he was 3 for 23 versus New England and 2 for 20 versus Buffalo. I just went from wondering if 6.5 was too much to being like, what if I slide him to 14.5? Let me do some slide on Franklin. Come on. This is supposed to be the fun one. This is supposed to be the fun one. Let's do a Franklin. How can I make this move? Can I make this move? 20 rushing yards from Malik Washington. What's a better slide? Receptions for him? How about this? Is that cheeky enough? Malik Washington, 20 rush yards. Troy Franklin, 6 receptions. Or do I need to dream bigger? I feel like that's fairly cheeky. There's one more. There's one more. All right, guys. This has been fun. This is the portfolio review. Thank you to everybody hanging out. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday. Enjoy the Monday Night Football doubleheader. And yeah, next time I see you guys will be tomorrow on the Swolecast. And yeah, one more shout out for the masterclass. So many underdog testimonials, back-to-back first place winners. Go check it out. We seriously haven't gotten a bad review about the course yet. So truly think that it is an awesome bang for your buck. Use 10% off with promo code BADGE, and you'll immediately get the audio options too. You can drop it in a podcast of choice, and within the next few minutes, you could be walking around listening to the dulcet tones of John, Nez, and myself talking underdog strategy. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Shout out to producer Mark in the hopper. Pour one out for Malik Nabers on your way out. Bye, guys.